Hey there, Icarus here, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. We're keeping things spooky, as is the fashion of October, what with Supernatural. This is a rather ambitious mod from the same author of Winter's Fury and Insanity Edged, but the crucial difference between those mods and this is that here you are pretty much completely defenseless. No weapons, heck, not even a friggin' flashlight. And as for what you'll be doing during the course of Supernatural, well, as it happens, you just had the real poor fortune of running out of fuel a stone's throw away from a curiously abandoned UAC facility. If there's certainly one thing that Supernatural does well right off the bat, it's building a sense of atmosphere. Your approach to the facility is flanked by a forest that can occasionally send you spiraling in circles, provided you don't pay attention to the mysterious fires that can help lead your way. But by far the most intimidating thing about this opening section, and just testament to the sense of atmosphere and immersion that's generated from this simple walk from point A to point B, is the fact that I was straight up startled by the facility doors opening up automatically in front of me. But really, this is only Supernatural beginning to ratchet up the tension of what it has in store for you. Because once you get inside, you find that, oh crap, all the lights are out. So, what's a girl to do than find their way around blindly in the dark and hope they stumble on something? Oh look, a spotlight overlooking a fuel canister. I'll freely admit that this drastically obvious lighting technique didn't quite work on me the first time because I was desperately trying to press use on the thing before realizing that jumping is allowed here, and then managed to distract myself with some impromptu parkour. But yes, as it happens, you can do the traditional, which is running over items to pick them up. The fuel, as it happens, is a necessary component for getting your car fixed, but, it's gone. It's gone. Forrest ate it. After a quick consult of the journal, which handily compiles any objectives as well as notes you might pick up from throughout your journeys, turns out you got no other choice than to head back to the facility and hopefully get those lights working again. Simple trip back through the forest, and oh, what the ever-loving f*** is that thing? Oh. So yeah, as you might imagine, those things are an absolute barrel of laughs. They spot you, they will chase you down, and you've only got maybe about 2 or 3 chomps before you get yourself a game over, so evasion is very much the order of the day when it comes to those things. As for the rest of the facility, a extra door opens up allowing you to move a little deeper, hopefully turn on the generator, but in the process you'll come across a few concerning piles of gore. If anything, this only becomes more concerning once you actually get the lights fully switched back on, because, oh boy. Yep, that's gonna require a few mops and buckets, that's for sure. Now, you'd think with the lights on, the facility would be a little easier to navigate, but no, this place is sprawling. In fact, you'll even come across a journal should you turn the right direction that denotes what all of the subsection numbers actually mean. But really, I feel like the intent is to blunder your way around this facility and eventually stumble on the way forward. You may also notice the usage of green in these hallways, and you know what? That is actually something worth paying attention to, as green will typically denote a decent enough direction to head in. It's not always going to guarantee you landing in the right spot, but it will more often than not land you at a point of interest, a journal entry, or, in front of something you really would rather not be in front of. Mercifully, this map is Swiss cheese enough in terms of its construction that there are often multiple routes available to you should you need to evade. And just on the off chance that you're thinking, well, the spookiness factor is probably going to drop off once you know where these particular enemies spawn, guess what? It's not always the same place. Mercifully, you do have an objective to strive towards throughout the course of this section, and that is finding yourself some broadcast equipment. Personally, I feel like I got reasonably lucky with finding where I needed to go here, though you do get access to the map during this section, which isn't always a given. Either way, once you reach the broadcast station here, you'll find an emergency evac's been called in, and everyone has basically made a beeline for the tower. But before I gloss over it completely, how neat is this kind of holographic style map table that's going on here? It's a really neat visual touch, right? Anyway, places to be, best be on my— oh my god damn it! You'd be forgiven for assuming that something is actively trying to screw with me at this point of Supernatural, and that's because it is. But seriously, I gotta give it credit where it's due, because whatever it's doing extremely goddamn well.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah. I see what the problem is here. You see what's going on is you got a big ass hole in the wall. Yeah, that ain't good. It's gonna cost you. If anything, it's fortunate that that huge sounding thing made that big ol' hole, because it's where you actually need to go next. The path to the broadcast tower is through the forest. And if you think heading through here means we've left those enemies that can literally taste my stink behind, well, that's where you'd be sorely mistaken. In fact, the forest has its own smorgasbord of terrors to supplement the ones that we've already suffered through. And personally, one of the most inventive is a presence in the forest that, if it catches you wandering off the straight, narrow, green-lit path, it will actively screw with you and blink you somewhere else that you really don't want to be. Trust me, it's not worth it. Just get out the cabin! God damn it! But in all honesty, I am astounded how much Supernatural achieves when it comes to inducing the old fight or flight response, and considering I can't fight, I'm getting a hell of a lot of flight. I feel like testament to that is not just the design of the environments visually, but also the sound design that plays a part in this. There's always some low, ambient, supplementary effect that just underscores everything, and then there's the sprinkling of extra sound effects on top. For example, the crackling of blown fuses in the facility, the hum of the machinery, the whir of the fans as you pass by. Even in the forest, you've got the whisper of the wind passing through as you desperately try to keep an ear out for one of those creatures sniffing around for your scent. But I really just can't understate just how effective it all brings everything together. Just this all-encompassing immersive element that genuinely helps set me on edge. Oh, and as a brief helpful aside, don't go wading through that water. It may seem like the quickest way across, but I've heard there's ducks in there, and they're extremely territorial. If anything, I'm also impressed by the effort to try and draw your curiosity. You know for a fact that you're supposed to be following the green lights. It's explicitly mentioned in the notes, but every step of the way, there's something just to drag your attention slightly away. And it really calls into question how competent I would ever be in a horror film scenario. You know, when characters constantly make dumb decisions or wander off from the safety of the group, I'm starting to feel like I would be the guy that wanders off and gets himself killed. Because let's face it, if I do wander in the direction of the giant demonic-looking pontoon in the lake that causes you to see red and blink in and out of existence, well, I probably deserve everything that's coming to me. Well, I sure am glad I managed to get out of that spooky forest without making several very silly decisions, but that's all behind me now, because we're at the broadcast tower, where the evac point should handily be located somewhere nearby.
I'm sure glad the power's all fully operational up here, because it sure would be a big old pain in the backside if things were to go suddenly and dramatically. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me?
Nah, this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Nothing we haven't had to deal with before. I'm just gonna have to find a breaker, switch the power back on, try and avoid the strange apparition that's in front of me. Hey there, buddy. How you doing? You seem kind of shy. You gonna try and spook me? You don't seem that spooky to me. Oh my god! So yeah, new enemy type. Functions a little different from the previously encountered one in that to keep it docile, you actually need to keep an eye on it from fair enough a distance away. If you get up close, that's when it goes a bit berserk and tries to bite your face off. And the kicker to all this is, if you don't keep an eye on it, it will try and close the distance and get all up in your business whether you like it or not. It's kind of like a Boo from Mario, but much more aggressive once you get within 3 feet of its personal bubble. Aside from that problem, we've also got to do a little bit of spelunking, because the main power system, codenamed Blue, requires us to head down into the bowels and restart everything and sniff around the other power systems, which, does this run on pain?
That's a clean burning hell, I tell you what.
So you've finally dragged yourself through the bowels of the power system, reached the Blue station, and flicked the switch. I'll have to admit, it's a real nice light show. But as it happens, I seem to have also angered the living embodiment of electricity. Yep, this is a boss battle, and I got no guns. You'd think that this would hamstring the intensity of the fight somewhat, but there is still a particular thrill when it comes to evading lightning strikes and whatever the heck else it's throwing at you, while you desperately try to figure out what sequence of switches you need to head for next. As you might imagine, the intensity of the attacks increase as you get further along the sequence, and boy, the last few, they got a little tricksy to deal with. I was kind of cornered. Either way, after a prolonged bout of minor electrocutions, I was able to bring the system fully under control, and when you believe it, this was all in service of essentially turning the lights back on. And an elevator as well, I guess that counts too. But the thing that I really enjoyed about this is it did feel, aside from the lightning strikes and the orbs of electrocution, that it was trying to fight you every step of the way. There's a few doors here that will close on you as you attempt to make it back to the main switches, and it just helped give the fight a little bit of extra personality. It's good. All that really remains now is to return to that central elevator that will speed you to the top of the broadcast tower, where hopefully evac should now be awaiting you. Only the signal isn't getting through. Something is interrupting it. And as far as the story of Supernatural goes, there seems to be a fair bit of it left to tell. But sadly, that won't be happening in this incarnation of Supernatural, because all of what I've played so far consists of just the demo for Supernatural. I feel like I need to let that information sink in somewhat, because what is here could easily be, on its own, a robust, really well-constructed mod, all of its own right. But what I haven't been showing you is that there's a lot of interlinked level connections here. There's routes that clearly are intended to be set up for you to return to other places, Metroidvania style, and complete other things, such as unlocking keycard doors and progressing into other adjacent areas. And in this version of Supernatural, you essentially butt up against an invisible wall with a gentle message telling you that maybe this isn't the way you should be going just yet. As for whether or not Supernatural will receive its long-awaited full version anytime soon, who's to say? The author behind this has more recently completed Insanity Edged, which is a very fine follow-up, I must say, to Winter's Fury, both of which more than worth your time. But one can hope that with both of those respective projects under the author's belt, they may potentially have time to spend on working on the rest of Supernatural. Either way, I'll be there whenever it's ready, and in the meantime, if you want to get a taste of it for yourself, the link, as usual, is in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know in the comments below, and feel free to suggest any mod you'd like to see me cover in future editions of Doom Mod Madness. As always, if you'd like to help the channel out, a like and a subscribe goes a long way, but if you feel like going further, I also offer occasional early access and exclusives via YouTube memberships and Patreon memberships. But until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.